Welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. This is my Alaskan Malamute Rokka. This time we are on a 3-day hiking and backpacking trip on Ilves Reitti, which translates to Lynx Trail, or actually a trail network. We are not any further than maybe 2 kilometers from where we got dropped off, and we already had some really cool nature experiences, witnessing some wildlife action, which was nice this early on the trip. I've been on this trail network twice earlier in 2017 and maybe 2021, but this particular section that we are doing this time for the next 3 days is completely new to me, new to us both, of course, as is this lean-to, which is why we came here to check it out. And maybe during some future trip we will stay here overnight as well. But now, enough waffling, let's get going. Rock up! We've pretty much now circled to the other side of the lake, and now the trail turned and starts to head towards, well, deeper in the woods. Really good weather to be hiking out. It's been mostly overcast, maybe plus 5 degrees. We've done just shy of 10k this far, and since I need to stop soon anyway to fix my socks, I figured might as well have a good lunch break there by this lake. Let's see if we can find a good spot that isn't as wet as this stuff.
Tuna pasta with some cheese. The sun is now definitely out, but it's still early May. Last night it dipped below 0, so even though I do enjoy hiking in my pretty much my summer gear, it's still not that warm.
Finland is the land of thousands of lakes, or actually hundreds of thousands. And this trail network is certainly a testament to that. Feels like all day today we've been just traversing from one little lake to another. Cannot complain though. Great weather, great views. Throughout this hike today, I've noticed that a lot of the infrastructure, like those little bridges across those streams, look rather new, even pristine, I might say. Same has been for the signposts and all these markers here up on the trees and such. And indeed, we just came across a dude who was building another small bridge, and he confirmed that they are doing a lot of maintenance and upgrades along this trail, which is nice because we are actually very close by to quite popular national parks. And as far as I've understood, most people tend to then stay within the kind of limits of those national parks and of course enjoy the I guess benefits that the national park provides. And not too many people then venture out to these longer trail networks. So yeah, good to see that this one is being maintained. But I definitely see myself still discovering more of this Lynx Trail network. As said, this is my third time on this trail network. First time was in 2017. I did 3 days of hiking with a friend of mine, and I think we started on Good Friday, so it was around Easter time. And funnily enough, today is Ascension Day, or maybe it's called Holy Thursday. Here's an upgraded little bridge as well. So yeah, bit of a funny coincidence in that way. Look at that. That's the new infrastructure I've been mentioning. These look like, I believe all the little bridges that I've seen have had 4 planks side by side, and these have 3, so I think these are new duckboards. Duckboards used to be just 2 side by side, but they're clearly making them easier to walk for people. Looks like we have a little stretch of old gravel road, but no markers that I can see indicating which way we should continue. I think it's towards the right. That's my gut instinct, but better to check the map anyway. Whew. Yep, to the right just a bit, and then back left to the woods. And looks like we are circling or skirting around yet another small lake. What a cute little shelter. You can see toilets over there. Wow. Might be a bit difficult to sleep there, but I'll make it work. Otherwise, this place looks fantastic. Whew. That's 25.3 kilometers for today. Right about what I kind of was expecting. Now let's do the crucial test and see if I can sleep on top of this, or do I have to crawl halfway underneath. Maybe like this. Oh, oh, perfection. Now I think it's time to drink some electrolytes and then go for a swim. That's for sure. Water might be quite cold, but hey, a swim is a swim. A swim is a win. Alright, my camp is pretty much set up. All the sleep system here. Rucksack is there, and of course hydration bladder so I can keep drinking throughout the evening and so forth. I even got my coffee pot full of water for tomorrow morning in case it is raining in the morning, and it should indeed rain during this night, so that's why I'm happy that I have this hard cover on top of me tonight. Just making some hot water, boiling some water for dinner. Of course, dogs' bags are over there as well, completely waterproof, but hey, why not keep them here so that they stay a bit drier at least. Dog has his own food and water over there, but he's of course already eaten and looks like sleeping already as well. And I almost forgot to mention that I found a convenient place to store my hiking pole as well as put my clothes to dry, and actually use this merino wool t-shirt as my towel, so it's now drying there as well. There was this one big buckets like bale handle there hanging, and I could just wedge this hiking pole up there, and now I have a good clothesline. There really is only one, or yeah, I guess maybe two downsides to this spot. First one is what you can hear probably already. There's a small airfield very nearby. Actually, we'll go, I believe, right beside it tomorrow morning. So there are these small planes, think Cessnas and such, that fly around quite constantly, and I've seen them often also towing those what do you call them, like gliding planes as well. So there's that kind of additional noise that you don't necessarily want when you're outdoors, but that's just noise in the end. But maybe the primary concern is that this shelter is facing southwest and the wind is coming from west, and of course that's where the rain is coming from then as well later on tonight. I am tucked in back here, so I'm as protected as I can be in this shelter, and of course I do have my bivy bag as always, so I'm not, that worried, but it is still an exposed location to be in. Luckily the wind isn't too bad, but it's definitely colder because of it. Let's see what we have today for dinner. Sweet potato curry with cheese. But all that said, the convenience this place provides is still unquestionable. That's for sure. Not gonna lie, just being able to stay here, legs inside the sleeping bag, just enjoying the evening has been really great. I've woken up at 5, which is not a flex, by the way. That's just the harsh reality of living with small kids. But yeah, just being able to stay still and relax and enjoy has been really good. I think I'll call it for tonight, and let's see when the rain clouds roll in. Hopefully it won't be too severe. All right, that's it. Let's catch up in the morning. Huomenta. Joo, no niin, kiitos. It did rain on and off during the night, but luckily the winds weren't strong enough to blow the rain all the way in here, so looks like my rucksack is and pants completely dry, but the BB bag definitely did its job once again, although in this case it's actually my poncho, but regardless it blocked the wind completely, so I stayed nice and cozy inside, and just the perfect amount of sleeping bags combined with this BB bag. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, but just nice and comfy. Slight breeze coming in from the west, but not as bad as yesterday evening. Time to get some coffee in. There's not many things in life that can beat that good coffee. Good morning coffee in the woods. All right, day 2 on the way. Weather-wise, looks to be roughly 4 degrees Celsius, not counting the wind chill, of course. And talking about the wind and the fact why I haven't had an open fire yet, well, the unfortunate truth is that right now this whole region is under wildfire warning, which means that no open fires. And you might think that it seems a bit weird since, as you can see, everything's quite wet, and yes, yesterday the trail was quite wet and damp in many places, but I guess the forest floor in general in this region is so dry that the warning is in effect. No lean-to shelter or anything tonight, just the trusty old top and choosing a spot based on our everyman's rights. Part of the Ilvesreitti goes right down there by the lake, but we took kind of this highway because this is the only part which I have hiked before, and that was 2017. We hiked all the way to that end of the lake, and over there is a really nice lean-to shelter, and we did spend our night, the second night there during that trip. And as we just passed the shelter and that camping area, I saw at least 2 tents and 1 tarp, and of course there might have been other people sleeping in the actual lean-to shelter itself, so a very popular spot. All right, looks like we have some pretty decent maps here. That's where we stayed last night. Now we're here. There's the little airfield over there, and we will continue here. This map shows everything that we've done so far. So that's where I started. That was the lean-to where the video started. And I came all the way through here and then there for last night. Now, today we'll start by circling around the airfield, heading up north. That's probably a good place to have a lunch break, and then off we go further to the north beyond this map. Come on. Oh look, another small lake. Oh. I really need to bring my fat bike here sometime during this summer. Maybe a bit colder weekend, so I can take the dog with me as well. Perfect trails. Very little to no roots or rocks. So nice fast riding. A rare treat. This also doesn't help with my massive bike packing fever at all. According to my map, there should be some type of a border stone just here. This little pile here is the only thing that would fit the bill. Not much of a border stone anymore. Maybe sometime in the distant past it has been a bit more substantial. In case you haven't noticed or simply don't know about these things, Rocca is still wearing his winter coat, winter fur, and this sun, even though this isn't warm for me because of the wind, it seems like the sun is really getting to him. And originally I had planned for another 15 kilometers for today, but now actually dog is, you probably cannot see him, but laying there by the shore. And I'm cutting today short by considerable amount. I did some pondering and looking at the map and tried to figure out where we could possibly find a good camping spot by some other lake. And I have one potential location in mind, roughly 6 kilometers or so to go, so quite close by. And I believe that is where we are heading next. Hopefully you can hear something from my talk, because it is windy. This is what I mean. It's not normal that Rocca would walk behind me. You know, Alaskan Malamutes, they are sled dogs, always ready to be on the front and also pull if necessary. And now I almost have to pull him every now and then. And really, the only explanation that I can come up with is the fact that maybe the sun has been too much for him, or has had a bigger impact than I thought it would have. Because we've done, of course, 30-kilometer hiking days several times, and he has carried heavier loads. So it's neither one of those things. And of course, neither has our pacing been any tougher than usual, because again, all of yesterday he did walk in front of me, so basically the dog sets the pace more or less, and that is not the case anymore. So I guess it would make sense to cut this day a bit short, and for the next 5 or 6 kilometers what we have left to the potential campsite, then keep kind of a easy pace. Another old border stone. This one has been around at least since 1539. And that's first recorded mention of it. You can see the original, or some of the original markings still there. Kind of neat piece of history, even in this little old country in the north. Not the best place in the world, but it will do for tonight. Rokka is there testing out our shelter. Doesn't look like much, but it actually fulfills the two main requirements that I had. Number one, providing cover from that brutal wind. And although it looks a bit funky, it has survived a couple of really strong gusts already, so I think that's a yes. Number two, of course, providing plenty of shade for the dog. Now, you might be saying, Joel, I see there's 1 and 2 stumps inside your shelter. Isn't that a mistake? No, that's by design. It's always nice to have a bit of a table surface, but actually this is something that I'm planning on using at least tomorrow morning for as a cooking surface. So I can rest my burner on top of it instead of putting it on the uneven ground. Right now I'm letting Rokka to use it as a pillow. But let's get a quick tour so you can see the actual impacts of the wind as well. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough spot to put any kind of shelter, especially if you would have a tent. You could maybe put it right there in the middle of everything, but that's about it. Yeah, so this is it. I have these 2 strands that basically do the heavy lifting regarding the wind. I have no idea if you heard anything because of the wind. I hope you did. Yeah, I think it's time for us to kick back and rest a bit. Hopefully the wind dies down sooner than later. Well, am I kidding? It's just so much nicer to eat inside this and be inside the shelter than out there. It's just the constant wind. It can get a bit brutal. Oh, look who decided to join me. Chicken that actually tastes like chicken. It's a rare treat, but I have to give it to Tactical Food Pack. They've managed to get the chicken right. To be fair, it's no wonder that this guy still has his winter coat on, because we had a really warm and sunny Easter. I actually barbecued and cleaned up the terrace and whatnot, and then after that the winter came back with the vengeance and we got like 20 centimeters of fresh snow, so no wonder he hasn't dropped his coat yet. But being out here definitely seems to help, because this wasn't happening earlier, so this is good. I can start managing this thing once we get back home. But let's take it easy. Tomorrow morning, just 10 kilometers or so to go. Let's go check out the campsite where we were supposed to go today. And who knows? Maybe it would have been just as bad as this one. Maybe not. But we'll see that tomorrow. Huomenta, Rokka. Huomenta. Olisiko aika nousta? Ota vaan. First the dog, and then the man. Always have to remember that order of business. Clearly a colder morning, and I just checked, and I think we have 1.5 degrees in here.
one poncho slash bivy bag tucked away. Luckily enough, didn't have to use a poncho this time. Although still 1 week ago, the weather forecast showed and claimed that actually yesterday, so Friday would have been a quite rainy day, but then over the course of the week, the amount of rain shrank, and actually the timing then ended up being the Thursday, Friday night, which was of course perfect for us. So not bad at all. Not even a depression from where I slept. In this kind of how would you describe it? A chaotic environment. Very easy to leave no trace. Going beyond not leaving any trash or other things behind, but in general, it's practically impossible to say that anyone has camped here. So now, off we go. I believe up there should be a little dirt road somewhere up there, which we can follow and then move on to Lynx Trail or Ilvesreitti. All right. 1.7 kilometers later, we are back on the trail. The trail comes from there, as you can see from the signpost, and goes over there, and that's where we are going. Oh, all right. Welcome. Hyvä menevä. And as you can see, Rokka is again leading the way, so at least for now, all is good. We just went through quite a large clear-cut area where there were spruce trees planted afterwards, maybe a couple of years ago. And actually, as you can see, this similar area right here, but the spruce trees are a bit older over here. And I figured this is a good opportunity to talk a bit about the trail itself. Well, first of all, not the whole trail network, but these sections that we've been now going through during this trip. First of all, it has been great to see that all the trail markings and such have been recently either completely made anew or otherwise renovated. Same with the other trail infrastructure. And that has been especially helpful now during the third day, or actually since the lunch place yesterday, because after that, trail has been a lot less traveled. You can clearly tell because at times there's almost no noticeable trail at all. Other times, this hiking trail looks like any other game trail in the woods. Ja, hyvä, seissunta. And without the good trail markers, using just a map, even a GPS, it would be very difficult to navigate. In fact, today, a couple of times, we've just lost the trail completely. Both of those times, there has been one marker like that, and then, let's say, clear-cut area or something, or not even that, but the trail simply vanishes. There's no depression, nothing on the ground, and we just have to get going until we see maybe 50 meters to the side, the trail pops up again, or the trail markers at least pop up again. So yeah, those have been really lifesavers, which tells me that between the lakes where we stayed the first night, so close to that small airfield,
and then the 16 or so kilometers to the another lake where we had lunch yesterday. There's actually another loop going around that lake. That 16, 17 kilometers that there's between those places was very well maintained, definitely rideable by fat bike, awesome trail. And both of the loop trails on both ends that go around the lakes were also really good shape, and I bet very popular. So like a night and day difference between that and what we've been hiking then rest of yesterday and whole of today. So if anything, I would encourage you to find out these less traveled trails for yourself, assuming you have the skills, knowledge and gear to hike on trails such as these that are outside of national parks and whatnot, then please do so, because that's the only way to keep these trails alive, keep them visible on the ground. And by hiking, sharing photos and whatnot on those hikes, on those less traveled trails, then you also show those powers that be who maintain those trails that yes, these trails are in fact used, and you should take good care of them also by marking them properly and so forth. And what else? A couple of times we've crossed quite big roads, and actually today the trail went quite close by a very big road for a while, but luckily it didn't cross it, and now we've kind of turned away from it. So that's a brief trail review, and maybe now I will put on the screen kind of all 3 times that I've been exclusively on this Ilvesreitti Lynx Trail in different years, so you can see kind of where I've been. Probably marked in red is the whole trail network. You can possibly see on the map as well, there on the left, at least one of the national parks that are close by, Liesjärvi National Park. And then in other colors, my trips over the years. So still some trails to hike or bike on this network. But all in all, a very rare treat this far south in Finland to have access to a trail network this big. So that's why I like Hämeen Ilvesreitti so much and keep coming back to it. All right, we are now right by the lake Ruokojärvi. This is where the trail has led us, and somewhere around here we should have had our campsite. So clearly, as you can see, well, at least the water and shoreline looks a bit better, but in terms of how and where we could have set up our shelter, well, that's another story altogether. So there you have it. Looks like the grass would not have been greener on the other side of the fence this time, so not much of a campsite. This trail now leads back to another gravel road and then away from the shoreline, so maybe we could have come up with something, maybe not, who knows. But anyway, such is life. You've been watching Taival Outdoors. We'll both see you all in the next one. Bye.